For 7 years, she had always thrown a birthday party for me. A day early, on the day of my 6th proposal, I stumbled upon my assistant's heartfelt confession. "Grace, thank you for celebrating my birthday for 7 years." I smiled, extending the ring. "Since you two have feelings for each other, why don't you get married?" "The ring is already here." Her face went pale, and my assistant froze. I softly added, "Only the name on the ring will need to be changed." "Ethan, stop with the sarcastic remarks. Alex was just using me to rehearse for his proposal to his girlfriend. Do you have to be so dramatic?" My girlfriend, Grace, still had her arms wrapped around her assistant Alex's neck, yet she shamelessly told me it was just a rehearsal. My hand, offering the ring, froze in midair. Grace glanced at it, then frowned, and spoke. "Who are you putting on that face for? It's your birthday party today. Are you intentionally trying to make the guests think I bullied you?" "Grace, it being too harsh. Ethan couldn't have meant that." Alex rubbed her head, stepping in to smooth things over for me. Then he reached out and took the ring. "Ethan, thank you for the gift. I really like it." He held up the ring and said to Grace, "Grace, let's do a full rehearsal again. Maybe can give me some pointers and tell me what I can improve." "Sweetheart, whatever makes you happy." Grace leaned in close to him, affectionately rubbing her nose against his. Then she said to me coldly, "Alex and I are going to rehearse again. Give us some constructive feedback." I didn't answer, just stared intently at her. Her gaze held nothing but impatience and disdain. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my flesh. Suddenly, I smiled and nodded in agreement. "Okay." Grace finally seemed satisfied. After glaring at me, she looked gently at Alex. "Alex, let's start." Everyone at the birthday party was Grace's and Alex's friends. She felt I wasn't presentable, so for the past 7 years, she hadn't allowed a single one of my friends to attend the parties. Someone, at a strangely fitting moment, started playing a wedding march. Amidst the cheers of the crowd, Grace very solemnly accompanied Alex in rehearsing a full wedding vow ceremony. It wasn't the proposal rehearsal she claimed it was at all. The intense gaze between them was undeniable. After exchanging rings, Grace passionately kissed Alex. The cheers at the party grew even more fervent. A bitter taste filled my mouth. Unable to control my sorrow any longer, I turned and quickly left. I recalled how, during college, both my parents had died in a car accident. Grace, as the class president, would patiently talk with me and keep me company every day. She was cheerful and kind-hearted, and over time, I fell hopelessly in love with her. I swore I would be good to her for the rest of my life. After 7 years with Grace, I had proposed 5 times, but each time, she rejected me with various excuses. For the last 2 proposals, she was visibly annoyed. But just now, when Alex asked her, "Will you marry me?" I could clearly see that Grace had truly been moved and agreed. I desperately wanted to tell myself I was mistaken, yet I knew perfectly well that Alex was her first love. They had once been hopelessly in love. If it hadn't been for their differing plans for the future that led to their breakup, I would never have had the chance to be with Grace. My thoughts were a mess, and I was drowning in sadness. It wasn't until my phone kept ringing that I snapped out of my daze. I let out a bitter laugh and answered the phone call. Grace's furious voice immediately burst through the phone. "Ethan, what is your problem? I spent money and effort to throw you a birthday party, and you just left without a word. What are people supposed to think of me?" Listening to her accusatory tone, I suddenly realized my heart didn't ache anymore. It seemed that, when enough disappointment accumulated, love truly could just vanish. "Today is Alex's birthday. You should stay and enjoy it with him." I didn't want to argue with her, so after saying that, I hung up the phone call and turned off my phone. Grace parted until late at night before coming home. By then, I was already sound asleep in the guest bedroom. Drunkenly, she pulled back my blanket and threw a watch onto my face. A gift. I opened my eyes and looked at her. She coldly warned me, "Ethan, I am warning you. Stop looking at me like I owe you a fortune. I don't owe you anything." I rubbed my throbbing forehead, frowning as I looked at the so-called gift. It was an old watch, with no packaging box. I had already seen it on Alex's social media posts. It was something he didn't want anymore. This wasn't the first or second time Grace had given me someone else's trash. The old me would have genuinely seen it as a blessing, but now, I casually tossed the watch aside and said blandly, "Thanks, Ethan, what is this attitude?" My lack of gratefulness stung Grace's sensitive nerves. She grabbed the collar of my pajamas and yanked me up. You gave Alex a cold, sour face at the birthday party, and I haven't even settled that with you yet, but *** getting angry first. I pushed her away. It's late. I don't want to argue with you. In the stalemate, my phone rang. Grace picked it up, demanding, "It's midnight. Tell me, who's this other woman?" As she said this, she tried to unlock it, but found that facial recognition had been deleted. "Ethan, what does this mean? Are you really seeing someone else behind my back?" she asked, holding up the phone. I reached out. "Give it back to me." Grace ignored me, and, on her own, entered the password, but after countless attempts, it still showed an incorrect password. Infuriated, she threw it at me. "Ethan, you freeloading jerk, how dare you cheat?" I didn't move or answer, just watched her quietly. I suddenly realized how truly ugly she looked when she was angry, completely unlike the kind girl I remembered. For a moment, I couldn't recall how, over those 7 years, I had managed to be so devoted to her, enduring her insults and degradation without ever considering breaking up. Grace was still endlessly insulting and demeaning me. I suddenly felt utterly exhausted. I picked up my phone, unlocked it, and handed it directly to her. "Go ahead and check anything you want." Grace opened the messages. A birthday greeting from the carrier lay quietly in the list. She sharply looked up at me, surprised. "Today is actually your birthday." I scoffed, repeating, "Yes, today is my birthday." Time seemed to stand still. Grace, guilty, kept her eyes darting away. After a long, awkward pause, she stiffly apologized. "I am sorry, Ethan, I misunderstood you. I'll celebrate your birthday with you properly once it's daylight." I looked up at her, quite surprised by her reaction. I had expected her to make excuses, saying she was busy with work and that forgetting my birthday was normal. After all, ever since Alex reappeared, her attention had completely shifted from me. She remembered everything related to Alex, all his preferences. That's how indifference is most clearly revealed, in the smallest details. Just as she was about to say something more, I cut in, "Don't bother, I don't mind." Grace fell silent, looking at me with a complex expression. My patience was wearing thin, and I asked stiffly, "So, can I go to sleep now?" Grace concluded that my attitude was because I was sulking. She furrowed her brows. "I've remembered your birthday. What gift do you want? I'll buy it for you." "No need to buy anything. This one is fine." I picked up the watch and gestured towards her with it. "Ethan, don't be difficult. Isn't your stubbornness just because I didn't remember your birthday? I've already apologized. What more do you want?" Grace was always relentless in her pursuit. I didn't want to argue, so I conceded. "Fine, whatever you say." Grace finally smiled. "I remember you said you wanted seafood. There's a new place I took Alex to. I think you'll like it too," she said. Then her expression subtly changed, and she quickly added, "Don't get the wrong idea. Alex and I were just hanging out as friends." Outwardly, I remained calm, but inwardly, I scoffed repeatedly. Hadn't she just gone through a full wedding ceremony with him right in front of me? And now she was trying to deny it, explaining that they were just hanging out as friends. I nodded. "Whatever you say." Grace finally seemed satisfied, and, after wishing me good night, returned to the master bedroom. The next day at noon, Grace returned from the company to pick me up for the seafood restaurant. On the way, she kept checking her phone frequently. I considerately said, "If you have something to take care of, go ahead, it'll be fine." Grace finally looked up from her phone. "It's nothing. Accompanying you is most important." I smiled but said nothing. I knew perfectly well that Alex was throwing a fit. He was unhappy that Grace had left him to have lunch with me, and he had already posted several complaining social media posts. When we arrived at the restaurant, before all the dishes were even served, Grace answered a phone call and rushed off. I knew she wouldn't be coming back, so I started eating. A short while later, Grace's phone call came through. She apologized. "Ethan, I am so sorry. Something urgent came up. I can't celebrate your birthday with you today, but I'll make it up to you tomorrow." Before I could say anything, she quickly hung up the phone call. As soon as I finished eating and got home, Alex called again. The moment I answered, Grace's anxious voice rang out. "Alex, how are you feeling?" "Grace, I am fine. Don't cry." After sobs, the sound of passionate kissing came through the phone. I knew it was Alex's little trick. Indifferently, I hung up the phone call, intending to catch up on some sleep. Just as I fell into a deep sleep, my phone started ringing again. I answered it with my eyes still closed. Ethan, get to the hospital immediately. Grace's voice was urgent. She rattled off an address and room number, then the phone call ended. I sharply opened my eyes. After a few minutes of internal debate, I still went to the hospital. It wasn't because I couldn't let go of Grace, but because I knew if I didn't show up today, she had plenty of nasty ways to torment me. As soon as I pushed open the hospital room door, a metal thermos flew towards me. If I hadn't dodged quickly, my head would probably have been gushing blood. Ethan, why are you just getting here now? Are you upset that Alex is doing well? Alex weakly said. Grace, don't be so fierce. Then he turned to me with an apologetic smile. My bad. Ethan, Grace's cooking was so delicious, I couldn't resist eating an extra bowl and got indigestion. He added, Grace was worried about me, and insisted I stay in the hospital for observation, which is why we troubled you to come. Alex smugly raised an eyebrow at me, acting like a legitimate boyfriend. So, the urgent matter Grace mentioned was cooking for Alex. My temper flared instantly, and I pressed my lips together. Looking at the instigator, I thought back to the past, even when I had a fever of 40 degrees Celsius. Grace had never cooked a single meal for me. Now, she was cooking for him, and on top of that, she wanted to treat me like a servant. I suppressed my anger and asked, so, why did you call me here? Grace ordered, Alex needs to stay in the hospital for observation. Go back to his home and pack some clothes for him to bring over. Alex looked at me triumphantly. Ethan, thanks for your trouble. I took the key and went to Alex's home. The moment I stepped inside, I was stunned by the arrangement of his place. His home had many of Grace's things, from large bags and clothes to small skincare and toiletries. It seemed Grace truly considered this her second home. In his bedroom, there were several rows of display cabinets, filled with gifts from Grace, neatly categorized, and labeled with sticky notes. A quick glance told me the total value already amounted to millions of dollars. I remembered how, in the past, I had once wanted Grace to buy me $1,000 phone, and she had been extremely reluctant. Yet now, for her male confidant, she was spending a fortune. On the bedside table, there was also a half-empty box of condoms, Grace's lingerie, and a photo album. When I opened it, it was filled with intimate artistic photos of Grace and Alex. I looked at them with great interest, feeling no sadness at all. I only thought their relationship was truly commendable. I took out my phone and photographed everything for my records. Before I could leave, the front door of Alex's home opened. Ethan, I told you to get clothes. Why are you dragging your feet here? Grace, hearing the commotion, found her way in. I quickly hid my phone behind my back. Why are you two back? Grace saw the bedroom setup and snapped her gaze to me. Seeing no unusual reaction from me, she finally relaxed and said unnaturally, your phone call was always busy, and Alex was worried you were in danger, so he rushed out of the hospital to find you. Oh, seeing my coldness, Grace's face immediately hardened, and she questioned, so if he's fine, why are you dawdling here? Don't you know Alex is waiting for his change of clothes? I gave her a deep look and replied with a sneer, your man, you'd better take care of him, yourself. Ethan, what do you mean by that? I put away my phone and walked out. As I passed her, I turned my head and calmly said, Grace, let's break up. Grace blocked my path, scoffing dismissively, break up? Are you sure a freeloading man like you can live a better life after leaving me? Grace's words were truly laughable. Grace and I started the business together, and the company's stable profits were actually all thanks to me, but was inherently ambitious. She always secretly competed with me, just to prove she was better. Later, I simply found an excuse to resign from the company, and became a stay-at-home husband to take care of her full-time, but behind the scenes, I was also running my own startup. I did this simply to avoid losing touch with the business world. Yet, not a penny of the money I earned was spent on myself. It was used for household expenses, and buying her gifts. As for the allowance Grace gave me, I had never touched it, keeping it all in one bank card. My current assets, while not enough for complete financial freedom, would at least allow me to live comfortably if I scaled back my spending. I looked down at her. I am sure, the air instantly solidified. Grace's expression grew increasingly grim, seeing her frown. Alex deliberately said to Grace, it's all my fault. If I hadn't felt unwell and gone to the hospital, we wouldn't have bothered Ethan, and he wouldn't have broken up with you. Grace, blame me if you must. His words undoubtedly added fuel to the fire. and Grace's face turned even colder. She softly coaxed Alex, then coldly reprimanded me, breaking up with me over such a trivial matter. Look how generous Alex is, you truly can't compare to him in the slightest. I chuckled, "You're right, so let's break up." With that, I walked around the two of them and left. I returned home, took out my suitcase, and packed my belongings, then I threw everything that belonged to me, but I couldn't take with me, into the trash can downstairs. After doing all that, I picked up my suitcase, and left this so-called home. I chose a quiet boutique inn as a temporary base, then arranged for someone to handle the procedures for going overseas. In fact, ever since the birthday party incident, I had already started contemplating breaking up with Grace. Once that thought took root, I began thinking about my future path. I love starting businesses, I love working, and I love things that are challenging. So, I decided to go overseas to continue my career. After everything was done, I lay on the bed, planning to watch a movie to relax. Grace's phone call came in again. As soon as I answered, she accused me of stealing Alex's things and cursed me, calling me a thief. I frowned and retorted, "Steal what? Your lingerie or his condoms?" Grace was so provoked by my words that she started cursing vehemently. Her anger got to me, and I went straight over there. The moment he saw me, Alex's eyes turned red from crying. "Ethan, how could you steal my ring? Grace gave it to me. If you like it, I can buy you a new one." His insincere words made Grace pity him even more. I clearly asked about the design, then directly began to search Alex. Under my fierce gaze, Alex didn't dare struggle. Grace froze for a moment, then frantically tried to pull me away, simultaneously yelling, "Ethan, are you out of your mind?" I pushed Grace away and found the missing ring in Alex's jacket pocket. "Is this it?" I asked, holding the ring. Alex stiffly replied, "Yes, that's it." Grace stood to the side, silent, when turned and met her gaze. His eyes immediately welled up. "Grace, I didn't mean to. It's okay, as long as it's found." Grace, for the first time, interrupted Alex, saying with a forced smile. Then she looked at me guiltily, "Ethan, I shouldn't have doubted you." "Ha, I am used to it." My tone greatly annoyed Grace. Her face instantly flushed red. "Ethan, you never change." I wasn't in the mood to argue with her. Letting her insult me as she pleased, I simply left Alex home. After returning to the boutique inn, I turned off my phone, and fell into a deep, uninterrupted sleep on the large bed. When I woke up again, it was already late afternoon. The next day, after eating, I finally turned on my phone. Grace's messages flooded in like a torrent, and before I could even finish reading them, her phone call came through. "Ethan, you're deliberately playing missing, aren't you? Is that fun for a grown-up?" Her temper was flaring. I was completely bewildered. "What do you mean?" "Fine. Isn't it just because I spent less time with you, and you were jealous of Alex, that you brought up breaking up? I am at the mall buying you a gift. Come here now." Grace had never given me a decent gift. Each time she said I wasn't worthy. I was curious to see what kind of trick she'd pull today. Upon arrival, Grace led me directly into the most expensive men's clothing section. She rummaged through, picking out a shirt that cost nearly hundreds of thousands of dollars, then handed it to me to try on. The sales associate obsequiously offered coffee, which Grace accepted with a smile but didn't drink. When I walked out, she approached me while on a phone call, and the coffee happened to spill all over me. Grace quickly dodged away, waving her hand to indicate the phone call was important, and she needed to take it outside. Her lips mouthed for me to wait for her in the store. I nodded and went back to the fitting room to change into my old shirt. Time ticked by. The sales associate finally lost patience, and said coldly, "Sir, this shirt is already sold, please settle the bill first." By then, if I still didn't understand Grace's intentions, I'd be a complete idiot. I secretly thought I was such a fool. I already wanted to cut ties with her, yet I still eagerly sought out trouble, just to see what new trick she was pulling. I knew she was blaming me for searching Alex, and getting revenge for him. I handed over the card Grace had given me, and sure enough, it had no funds. The sales associate scoffed, "Sir, this card has no money. If you can't afford it, don't try it on. Why pretend to be a big shot?" Another sales associate chimed in, "Don't waste your breath on him. Look at his shabby appearance. You can tell he has no money. Let's just call the police." Just then, Grace's phone call came in. She mocked, "Ethan, doesn't it feel bad to be pointed at and ridiculed? I froze your card because I wanted to teach you a lesson. figure this out yourself, I sneered, hung up the phone call, pulled out my own card, and handed it to the sales associate. After the sales associate swiped the card, she immediately changed her demeanor, serving me with a beaming smile. I maintained a cold expression and simply walked out, carrying the soiled shirt. As soon as I stepped out of the mall, Grace stopped me again. She stood with her arms crossed, looking at me, with a half smile. All right, you've got some skills. Tell me, where did you get the money? Does it concern you? I tried to go around her, but she persisted. Fine, I won't ask anymore. It'll take you to make up for your birthday. With that, she reached for my hand. I shook her off, and quickly walked towards the taxi stand. Grace's way of playing games no longer worked on me. Don't be ungrateful. I've put my work aside specifically to be with you today. What more do you want? Did I ask you to come? Stop guilt-tripping me. I walked faster and faster. Just as I was about to get into a taxi, Grace abruptly pulled me away and slammed the car door shut. The driver was about to start cursing, but she casually threw a wad of cash. Scram. The driver left, beaming. I looked at her angrily. Grace, are you sick? Go get treated if you are. Grace didn't argue with me, but instead said earnestly, Ethan, I know you're angry, but there's a limit to anger. Alex cooked a whole table of dishes specifically to apologize to you. Come with me. I scoffed. Alex is apologizing because he falsely accused me. What about you? You still haven't apologized for wrongly doubting me. Grace hadn't expected me to so bluntly expose her reluctance to humble herself. She glanced at me in surprise. Then, her eyes darting away, she said, Fine, I'll apologize then, Mr. Ethan. I am sorry. It was my fault. All right. She looked at me with her head held high, satisfied. Anyone hearing her tone would know it was not an apology. But I didn't intend to quibble with her, nor did I plan to go eat any apology meal. Satisfied? Then let's go. Grace pulled me towards her car. I didn't budge, pulling my lips into a smile. I never said I'd go with you. Besides, we've already broken up, so let's stop this dragging and pulling. Grace turned her head to look at me, her eyes cold. Ethan, I am giving you one last chance to take back what you just said. Otherwise, even if you beg me crying later, I will never forgive you. I opened my mouth, but before I could speak, Alex's unique ringtone sounded. Grace released me and said softly, What's wrong, sweetheart? I am on my way, okay? Grace, hurry back. I miss you already. I miss you too. I couldn't help but shiver. The two of them were being so sickeningly sweet without a care for anyone else. It made my scalp tingle. Disgusting. Oh, Alex, you know that custom watch I had made. I've got it now. Would you like it? While said this, her eyes were fixed on me. I knew exactly what she meant. That watch was something she had promised to give me. I had begged her for a long time before she finally agreed, but I had waited for half a year, and nothing came of it. I thought the matter had just faded away. Who knew she had already gotten it? She just didn't give it to me. And of course, in her heart, I was never worthy of such an expensive item. It wasn't that I couldn't afford it myself. The only reason I wanted her to give it to me was to feel valued. What was the result? I never experienced feeling valued. Instead, each time, I saw more clearly what kind of person she truly was. I didn't want to drag this out any longer, so I neatly got into a newly stopped taxi. Grace couldn't stop me and could only watch angrily as I drove away. Insulting texts immediately started coming in. I deleted them directly, and called to check on the progress of my overseas procedures. My friend told me everything was done, and I could buy a flight ticket anytime to leave. After landing and turning on my phone, I found it was almost overloaded with calls. I immediately pulled out the SIM card, and threw it away. I cut off all contact with the outside world. I chose a picturesque hotel and settled in, after exploring the surrounding sights and sampling all the local delicacies. I walked through the streets and alleys to pick the most suitable address to open the company. In half a month, I finally got everything sorted out. To save money, I converted the second floor of the studio into a bedroom. Then I moved my luggage into the studio to get back to my career. I joined quite a few local circles. I also met many new friends. Every day, the group would either discuss startup experiences or arrange to go out for fun and adventure. I thought life could finally become peaceful, but one day, Grace found her way overseas. When I saw her again, I didn't dare recognize her for a moment. Her face was haggard, and large streaks of white had appeared in her hair. Upon seeing me, Her eyes lit up for a moment, then she demanded, "Ethan, how could you do this to me? Do you have any idea what a huge crisis the company is in because of what you posted?" I met her gaze without flinching. "So what? If the company is in crisis, go fix it. Is finding me going to help?" I added, "Besides, wasn't what I posted true? Did I accuse you falsely in any way?" Grace, who had initially been full of fight, saw my firm attitude, and her eyes began to dart away. "Those were all mistakes I made in my youth. Ethan, please forgive me, okay? I love you, love me. Forgetting my birthday, ditching me repeatedly, hurting me again and again for Alex. Is that what she called loving me? Right? Alex was her first love from her youth. He deserved all the best things, and I was just her second choice after she got hurt. So naturally, I didn't need to be treated with sincerity." Seeing my silence, Grace continued pitifully, "Ethan, I supported you for so many years. You can't do this to me. Come back with me, go back." I chuckled. "Go back for what? To witness the sweetness of your love, or to clean up the mess at your company?" Grace understood that the company's steady profits were primarily the result of my early efforts. "If I wanted to, Joss' company could still be saved, shouldn't you? The company is like this because of you." Grace's cheeks flushed crimson with urgency. "Then I have nothing more to say." As I started to leave, Grace quickly grabbed me, finally lowering her proud head. "Ethan, I was wrong, don't go." I disdainfully pulled my sleeve free and said blandly, "You're not wrong. When would Grace ever be wrong?" Grace's eyes were already brimming with tears. She looked up at me, her gaze misty. "Ethan, I truly know I was wrong. I know you mind me being close to Alex. As long as you come back with me, I promise I'll cut all ties with him immediately." I lazily lifted my eyelids to look at her, scoffing inwardly. So, she knew everything all along. Yet, she still did it. "Ethan, please forgive me this one time, okay? Come back to the country with me." Grace's expression was deeply hurt. I withdrew my gaze, directly dialed my friend's number, and put it on speakerphone. "Honey, are you back yet? I am waiting for you outside the studio," I said softly. The person on the other end paused, then answered gently, "I'll be home soon. Darling, wait for me." The phone call ended, and I raised an eyebrow, gesturing to Grace. "Did you hear that? I already have a new girlfriend. If you keep bothering me, she won't be happy." Grace's face cycled between pale and red, a truly vivid display. Then she looked at me knowingly. "Ethan, I know you're lying to me. You love me so much. How could you find a new girlfriend so quickly?" She added, "Stop messing around, okay? I forgive you for lying to me, and you don't need to be angry with me anymore. Come back to the country with me." I burst out laughing. Grace's face instantly dropped. "Ethan, don't push your luck. I am giving you one last chance. Come back to the country with me, and I'll let bygones be bygones." Just as I was about to retort, Alex called her. After answered, she frantically got into a car and left. Then she sent me a text message. "Alex is in the hospital. I have to go back to the country right away. I'll come find you again in a few days." I was somewhat surprised that she knew my new number. Then, I realized that there was nothing money couldn't do, and I felt relieved. It was just a headache that Grace kept pestering me. After I got home, I figured, since she was still going to come looking for me, I might as well just hide out. I signed up for an outdoor activity group, and ran a half marathon with a bunch of like-minded friends. After 2 days of rest, I participated in a rock climbing event. After rock climbing, everyone suggested going camping. At the campsite, I happened to run into my college roommate. Ever since I started being a stay-at-home husband, I had lost contact with all my friends from college. This time, when we met, my friend didn't see Grace around me, and immediately understood the situation. He congratulated me on finally escaping my misery. It was then that I realized how unfavorably my relationship with Grace had been viewed by everyone. Fortunately, all that was in the past now. That evening, everyone gathered for a barbecue and drinks, reminiscing about happy college memories. Just as everyone was having a good time, the appearance of Grace and Alex instantly shattered the calm. Grace's eyes instantly brightened when she saw me. "Ethan, I finally found you." She happily jogged towards me. I frowned in disgust. "Grace, you won't leave me alone." Grace abruptly stopped, saying pitifully, "Ethan, I brought Alex here to apologize to you." With that, she quickly pushed Alex in front of me. "Alex says he knows he was wrong. I shifted my gaze to Alex and said coldly, "What did Alex do wrong?" Alex's face had been grim, and hearing my words, he imperceptibly furrowed his brow. He glanced back at Grace, then reluctantly said, "Ethan, it's all my fault, you should go back to the country with Grace." Grace immediately echoed, "Ethan, don't be angry anymore, Alex has apologized, so can you please let go of the past?" I remained unmoved. Grace was so anxious she started crying, cautiously taking my hand. "Ethan, I wasn't good enough before, not gentle or considerate enough with you, but please, considering I supported you, and took care of you for so many years, don't be angry with me anymore." I lowered my gaze to the hand she held, and it dawned on me, Josh's company was failing. I laughed out loud uncontrollably because of her words. I said casually, "Grace, you've got it backward, haven't you? For those 7 years, I was the one taking care of you. The money you gave me, I kept in a card, and I've returned every last cent to you." Grace, hearing my words, lowered her head further and further. After a few seconds, she finally spoke in a low voice, "Ethan, I truly know I was wrong. I promise that starting today, I will treat you twice as well." The sincerity in Grace's eyes was something I had never seen before. Alex also noticed her change, and, clutching his stomach, squatted down. He said weakly, "Grace, my stomach really hurts." The concern in Grace's eyes flickered, but she remained standing, quietly looking at me. I spoke directly, "Go on, before it's a real emergency." Grace secretly sighed in relief. As she helped Alex up, she explained, "Ethan, don't overthink it. Alex doesn't know anyone else here overseas besides me." I nodded, "Understood. Go ahead." Only then did Grace help Alex leave, but in a place she didn't notice, I clearly saw Alex wearing a victorious smile.